I read an item in the paper the other day, and I know this. You've mentioned it, but you're already booked. You're 96 now, right?
96.
96.
I'm going to be 96 in January.
Right in January. You're already booked at the London Palladium.
When I'm 100.
When you're 100.
And also, I just signed a 5-year contract with the Riviera Hotel in Vegas for 5 years. I don't know what place to play. I hope the Palladium is still there. I love Showbiz. Let me ask you something.
Sure.
How long have you been doing the show?
It'll be
39.
When we finish next May, it'll be almost 30 years.
30 years. Yeah. I've been on your show for 30 years.
That's right.
Before that, I've been on the Jack Parr
That's
show.
right.
Before that, I've been on the Fred Allen.
Steve Allen.
Steve Allen.
Right.
All you guys, you're all leaving. I'm the only one left.
You get this question all the time. Is there any secret at all? I know you.
Yeah,
I know
I'll
you
tell
get
you the secret.
Yeah.
I'll tell it to your audience.
Okay.
Fall in love with what you do for a living. Terribly important. It's great to be my age and get out of bed and have something to do. I can't make any money in bed.
Does it seem that your good friend Jack Benny has been gone as long as he has?
He was my closest friend.
I know he was.
Yeah, he was a wonderful man.
Why was he such an easy mark for you?
Well, because if you told Jack Benny a joke, you wouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
Well, Jack Benny brought all these things on himself. Jack Benny signed a contract for $2 million. He was at the club. He looked excited. I walked over to him. I knew he signed the contract. I said, Jack, you look excited. He says, I am. If I was downtown and I found out that if you get into a car, and if you go 26 miles a day, 26 miles an hour, you miss every red light. Here's a guy that signed a $2 million contract, and he misses every red light. And then he said to me once at the club, he says, did you take a shower today? I says, take one. The towels are fluffy towels. Then he said, did you take a shine today? Shoe shine. The boy gives you the world's greatest shine. I said, I'll give him one shoe. If I like it, I'll give him the other one.
You know, I'd heard you do those things about Jack, and I never believed it. About everything was great. The towels were the great. He'd say he'd go to a restaurant. It was the greatest cup of coffee he'd ever had in his life.
But he says he never had a good cup of coffee.
Right.
I says, if you never had a good cup of coffee, how can you tell this is bad? You know. And we were sitting at the Brown Derby, and the waiter came over. I said, I'll have bacon and eggs for lunch. He said, I'll have cream of wheat. He says, and I hate cream of wheat. I said, why do you order cream of wheat? He says, Mary says it's good for me. I said, tell Mary to eat cream of wheat. I said, I'm going to have bacon and eggs. He said, I love bacon and eggs. Why don't you have bacon and eggs? He said, Mary says it's bad for me. I said, tell Mary not to eat bacon and eggs. And the waiter came over. He said, oh, I bacon and eggs. And Jack says, I'll have bacon and eggs. I said, when the check comes, give it to Jack Benny. I said, why? He said, why should I pay for the check? I says, if you don't pay for the check, I'll tell Mary you had bacon and eggs.
Okay, we'll do this. We're coming back.
When I had the late Jack Benny on my program, he talked very affectionately about your relationship. You were very close, weren't you, Benny?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great man.
Yeah.
And we were friends for 55 years, and we were very close. And I always loved to make Jack Benny laugh because I loved to hear him laugh, and he was a delight when he laughed. When Jack Benny didn't laugh, he used to collapse. When Jack Benny laughed in a restaurant, the whole restaurant laughed. And he was very easy to make laugh, providing you didn't tell him any jokes. It was little things that made him laugh, little nothings. Like, well, we'd sit down at the table. I said, Jack, would you like some salt? No, that's not funny here, is it? Big laugh from Jack Benny. And I didn't have to make him laugh. He made himself laugh. I'd sit with him, and all of a sudden he'd look at me and laugh. And I'd say, Jack, what are you laughing at? I'm not doing anything funny. He says, yeah, but you're not doing it on purpose. There I was a big comedian again. I walked into the lobby into the Hillcrest Country Club, and I got a very bad memory. So this man passed, and he says, hello, George. And I says, hello, kid. I call everybody kid, and he came over to me. He says, you and I have been members of the same club now for 35 years, and you keep calling me kid. You don't remember my name, do you? I says, I don't, huh? I said, Jack, tell him his name. That was the end of Jack Benny.
How do you rate him, George, as a performer, as a comedian?
A quiet riot. He was absolutely marvelous. He did something in Vegas that I was there when it happened. This was the opening of his act. He came out on the stage, and he stood there. He never said a word. He just looked at the audience. And he kept looking. And then he folded his arms. And he kept looking. And he touched his face. And they laughed. And then at the finish, he says, what the hell are you laughing at?
It's a very good question.
Very few people can do that.
Did you ever see the thing that Benny did on television? His screen personality was very stingy. And one day a man came out and said, took out a gun and said, your money or your life? And he turned to the audience. And he stood there for about 5 minutes. And it was nothing but laughter.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nothing but laughter.
Yeah.
And then the man said, your money? He says, I'm thinking.
I knew there was another.
Yeah, there was another. And he didn't do it.
See, I'm not a comedian.
Wait a minute. As long as... And he didn't do it on television.
Oh.
He did it on radio.
On radio,
which is even funnier.
That's
Because that 5-minute pause on radio was frightening. See, on television, you could at least see him. But on radio, you just, this long pause. So when you tell it again, please tell it right.
And I appreciate it.
Were you at the Benny party that night when he came down with the violin and the lady's hat on?
Yeah, I was there.
You know how that happened?
No, tell me.
We went to the party, there were about 150 people there. And Benny always used to stick his neck out. I came in, he says, George, he says, the party isn't moving. I said, the party is moving, everybody's drinking, they're all talking. He says, George, I'm in show business too. I know if a party moves. This party isn't moving. I says, Jack, you want to make it move? He says, sure. I said, why don't you go up and take off your pants, come down in your shorts, Mary's hat, and play the violin. He says, you think that'll make it move? I said, sure. Went upstairs, and when he went upstairs, I says, ladies and gentlemen, Jack went upstairs, he's coming down in the shorts with lady's hat. When he comes down, don't pay any attention to him. Down came Jack, the shorts on, lady's hat, nobody looked at him. He knew I put him on, he fell down, started to laugh. He says, George, now the party's moving. I'll tell you one story about Walter Matthau. We were making the Sunshine Boys, which was a great thing for me because it was the first time I ever played a character. And Jack Benny was supposed to do the Sunshine Boys with Matthau, but he passed away, so my manager, Irving Fine, was Jack Benny's manager, and they took me, I read for the part, and they gave it to me. Anyway, in the Sunshine Boys, there was a sketch where Walter Matthau was up, did sort of a Snissendale sketch. And the props were funny, and the dialogue was funny. So I said to Walter, I said, Walter, I don't think the sketch is going to play because the audience won't know whether to watch the props or listen to the dialogue. He said, boy, he said, that makes sense to me. Why don't you tell it to Neil Simon? And Neil Simon is the world's greatest writer. I would tell him he'd fire me. I said, I got nothing to tell you. And Neil Simon passed, and I called him over and said, Walter has something to tell you. So Walter told him, Neil Simon says, no, I would like it the way it is. I said, sure, I'm with Neil. Walter has nothing to tell you.
I just wanted to know what it feels like for whenever you go someplace for people to look at you. How do you just feel when everyone notices you?
How do I feel?
Yes.
I ask for more money.
Who was your favorite president?
Lincoln. I voted for him twice. I don't get mixed up in politics. I don't tell Ronnie Reagan or Bush how to run the country, and they don't tell me how to sing Red Rose Rag.
Gracie was a great light comedian, was she not? It was.
Gracie was a great actress.
That was.
Gracie was a. Gracie, the whole world thought Gracie was dumb, but not Gracie. Gracie thought she was smart. When Gracie said these strange things, you didn't understand and she felt sorry for you. And Gracie never told the joke. She explained it to you. Like, I came home, I said, what are we having for dinner? She says, roast beef. I just put 2 roasts on the oven. A big one, a little one. I said, why 2? She said, why? Because when the little one burns, that means the big one is done. Gracie was great. Without Gracie, you wouldn't be interviewing me.
You really believe
Gracie made it all possible.
And
Look, from 8 to 27, I was a failure. Then I met Gracie and things happened.
You had a great gimmick on your show. It's done now on Gary Shandling does it. It's called Modern. Jackie Mason does it.
Talking to the audience.
Talk to the audience. Now, your television show always talked to the audience.
That's
Your
right.
radio show talked
Made
to
it up.
You'd come out a skit.
That's right.
And talk to the audience. Was that a device? I mean,
My talent was off the stage. I was able to think of the things, and Gracie was able to do them. That's what made us a
but
good
then you would
combination.
tell us what's happening.
Yeah.
You'd walk out of the living room. The scene would
I
freeze.
also had a television set upstairs in the library. When Gracie was planning things to do to me, I used to watch her on television. And our sponsor said, you can't do that. It's out of reality. I says, I'm going to do it. He says, you'll have to get a new sponsor. I said, well, then we'll get one. But they kept us. And the television gimmick was a riot.
Yeah, that was a great bit.
Great,
But
great bit.
That idea of talking to the audience was yours?
Yeah.
Is that what you did in Vaudeville a lot? You would step out of frame?
What vaudeville? Who played vaudeville?
You never played
Until I
vaudeville?
met, yeah, but I stepped out of frame. And in vaudeville, you could be canceled after the first show. I was always canceled. I played the Folly Theater in Brooklyn. I was doing a single then. I was rehearsing my music at 10 o'clock in the morning. The manager heard me rehearsing, canceled me. I'm the only act in show business that was canceled before he opened.
Why did you take the name George?
Because my brother, they called my brother George. And we were 5 brothers, and we all loved my brother George. So we all called ourselves George. There are 5 Georges.
It was admiration, you
Yeah, we loved him.